Hello.
Hey,
Hi. I'm
how you
hoping this
doing?
works today. My everything seems to be running a little slow.
Oh,
So
okay. Me too.
it's one of those days.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, every day's a day.
Yeah, right.
So
Kind of,
yeah,
pretty much.
it's all
Such
good.
is such is life.
Yeah, good
How
days,
was your
bad days.
week?
They're just days.
Yeah,
Not
right.
bad. Yes.
Anything?
How was your week? Your birthday week
Oh, it was so fun. It
of
was so awesome.
awesomeness?
Yeah, yeah. The uh the birthday party was so freaking
Yeah.
fun. It only could have been better if you guys could have like somehow
I
miraculously been here.
know. I
It was
know. I
amazing.
wanted to go so bad.
Yeah, that video of my friend singing me my own little birthday song.
Hey, just stop. Get it. Woo! Get it. Get it.
Let's go! Rachel, happy motherfucking birthday.
I got stuck in my head too.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, it was amazing.
That's
Then what else
awesome.
did we do? We went to P.F. Chang's on Sunday and
Nice.
just gorged on Mongolian beef because that's my absolute favorite food. And
I
then,
love that.
yeah, on my actual birthday, I worked, but like my work family,
Huh, fun.
they spoiled me. They let me pick food and they bought everybody lunch and they put up a little banner and
Nice.
yeah, yeah, got me a cake, give me a card. My doctors gave me
That's
some
so cool.
money. I know. I was like, you guys were nice.
Hmm.
So it was
Just
really good,
celebrate your
actually.
birthday every day.
I told Anthony, I was like, I think this might have been like my best birthday ever. Like, let's try to,
Aw,
keep upping it. But like, that was awesome because the party was
so good.
awesome. The family, like, hangout, PF Chang's was awesome. Everything was just so good. It was like
Yay.
waiting for the ball to drop. Like, fuck, what's gonna happen? Like,
Crap, what's that? Yeah,
yeah, no, but oh, it's
let things
over.
slide
It's
in.
over already, and
Hmm.
it was awesome.
And
It
now
was the
you're
best.
40.
Yeah, now I'm 40.
Here's to 40. Cheers.
I'm living in the villages though, where I say that, and everybody's like, "You're a baby." I'm like,
Just a fetus.
"Yeah." Wah. uh,
It really isn't that old. And it's younger
no,
than we'll ever be again, so just live it up. We
exactly.
like it.
But don't you feel like when you used to look at like 40-year-olds or whatever, like they looked different than like,
Old.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And maybe that's just we're seeing through our eyes and we're like, I'm not fucking old, but yeah, I know I got my wrinkles and shit, whatever. But like,
No,
I
it's
think
definitely changed.
they like accepted the role and dressed the part. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It was like, well, it's time to cut my hair off and
Well, you see some of the people like seniors in high school in the 70s, and they
yeah.
look like they're in their mid 30s. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, they used to
and
in
then,
in teenage shows and stuff like that, or like Grease. Some of the people
uh-huh,
playing the teenagers were literally like 30, 40 years old. So
we're
maybe that's
literally
why
that
we
old.
thought that because they were having.
Yeah, maybe. But have you seen, they have there's a thread somewhere that says, like, I think people were just older back then, and they have pictures of like their grandparents at the same age. And it's
Uh-huh.
like, their grandpa at 22 looked like Cary Grant in like a suit and like a businessman. And
Yeah, yeah. He was
yeah, you got,
old and wise, and now we're like
mm-hmm,
toddler.
no. Right.
Well, life expectancy's gone up too. Maybe that's, part of it.
Yeah. Well, and I
Um,
think it's just acceptable to look like to care about the way you look for a longer period of time.
yeah, yeah. And it's okay to enjoy that and do it for you. Like I
Hmm.
always thought if I was putting on like too much makeup or this or that, like it was to draw the wrong type of attention. And I'm like, but I enjoy it. I enjoy
I feel better when I look
playing with
pretty.
it. I feel, yeah, I'm like, I feel fine without it. I feel fine with it. But like
Hmm.
it's like it doesn't have
It,
to be that I'm trying to, you know,
yeah, it
pull
adds a
someone
little
in
oomph.
or something. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, on
Yeah,
to
that's
our
fun.
topic for today. Okay, so it's my
Our
turn,
topic for today.
and
Sweet.
I wanted to talk about just like our past jobs, like our
Hmm.
favorite, our least favorite, whatever, best coworkers. Because I was looking at my job history and I'm like, I like for being 40, I feel like I've already had quite a
Done
few
everything.
different, I definitely wouldn't say everything, but like I've had a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Still more things to do.
Awesome. So when you were a little kid, what did you dream of being? Like, what
Okay,
was,
so I think I did want to be a news reporter, which I don't know if it came from my nickname of being the news reporter. And that gave me an
maybe?
idea of because I was always such a talker. And it used to be like, something I was teased about and almost got it teased out of me. Like I I still always have talked, but I definitely would like try to reel it in because I knew I was a bit much, and now I'm like,
Yeah.
if I'm too much, that's fine. Bye. Like you don't have to stay.
I never thought you were too much.
No, I know, and that it was an internalized thing too, like sure, it
Yeah.
like people did make comments and it was a thing, like maybe not so much in our era, the whole children are to be seen and not heard. But it was
Yeah.
still something you heard, and I still didn't feel like I had like much of a voice or like that I was saying anything that was important. But I did always want to talk about things, and I did think
Hmm.
I think I've always thought a little different than the average bear, So I think the first thing I wanted to be was that, but also that became
I
like
think you would be a good one.
a negative about me. So I kind of like I didn't see
Well,
it as a reality either,
yeah. Well, and it only takes like one comment from somebody that's like, oh, there goes Rachel talking again, and it sticks with you. It's
Yeah, yeah,
horrible.
yeah,
So
exactly.
many
And I get
dreams
it.
have been crushed by like one comment.
They're entitled to, their thing and they might not
Of
want to hear
course.
it all the time, but I like I've just always
Yeah.
been a talker. It's just who I am, even when I try to
It's
stop it.
good though. No, it fit well because I'm a talker in my head, but then when it tries to come out the mouth, there's a disconnect. So it was fun to have you there all the time saying the things that I
Talking.
wanted to say.
Yeah. Do you remember the time that Anthony Barrios, I believe was his name. I might be saying the last name wrong, but
No, I
the
know who you're talking
yeah,
about.
the guys we hung out with at one point in time in college, or more, we just kind of like bombarded them with us. We were like, "Hey, we're
We decided
playing."
we were friends, and now it's time. Yeah.
But remember when I think we were playing Tekken or something? I can't remember. But when he like bet me I couldn't shut up for like 5 minutes. Do you remember this?
I kind of do.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't remember the outcome though.
I just remember, I think I won it. I think I shut up. But I remember he was trying to mess me up because, he didn't want to pay up or something. But he
No.
was like,
Yeah.
messing with me and stuff, trying to get me to say something. And he's like, I could
Uh-huh.
see the words bouncing around in there, like in my head. He's like, screw you. Like,
I do remember that.
yeah, that's the origin of that was when,
Screw you.
yeah, exactly. It was when he was trying to get me to lose, and I don't lose.
You don't. The only thing I like better than talking is to not lose.
Oh,
Uh,
maybe. Anyway, so yeah, I think I
First
wanted to
jobs.
be that. But outside of like
Yeah.
people, maybe me shutting myself down from like talking too much or something and feeling like
Mhm.
that was an annoying thing about me, I also didn't really see it as like a reality because it was like
Viable option.
yeah, it's like I'm like college is like not something that is being pushed. Like my parents, obviously, like they, as an example, they both have went to college, but they also both were living with student loans. And,
Hmm.
so that was already a thing. So it was like pretty much they didn't push it, but they encouraged it or whatever. But
Yeah.
I didn't see myself like going far or doing anything. I don't know why. Maybe part of it was because like I was a woman. I was a girl, and
Maybe.
they used to say the words, you can be anything. But
Yeah.
that what they reinforced was when you grow up and you have children and isn't he
Uh-huh.
a gentleman? Maybe he's a potential, you know what I mean? It was always about
Provider.
that provider. It was always about that. So it was like, well, that's not really me. That's not something I could do. Like I'm gonna have kids. I'm gonna, I literally picked
Yeah.
my career right now based off of it's a good job for a mom to have, you know.
Yeah. Hmm.
I'm like, I'm good at it. It makes a decent living, but I'm not like, can't wait to go to work today.
Yeah.
Your first job, what was it?
You were just saying, oh, my first job, babysitting. Okay,
Okay.
my first job was horrible. It was like terrible. There
I
was
forgot. Hold on. I'm sorry. what did you want to be when you grew up? Because
Oh, what did I want to be when
just
I
said
grew up?
mine, and then
Oh,
what was the first job you wanted?
I think the first job that I was like, that would be a cool job was to either be an actress or somebody who interviewed famous people because I liked famous people.
Yeah.
And
Seemed
yeah, that
exciting, seemed fun.
that seemed exciting.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I
But
think I also went through that phase for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty I wanted to be an athletic trainer for a while, but like you were saying, it didn't fit with being a mom. Like I would have to be gone a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stopped that even though I really, really liked it. So anyway,
That's all right. Go back to now your first job of babysitting that
oh,
was
first job of babysitting that was terrible.
yeah.
Fifth grade,
Okay.
we volunteered to babysit for this lady that worked with my friend's mom. And she didn't tell us how long she'd be gone. We babysat like a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And she was gone from like 10 in the morning until 11:30 at night. And okay, we're in fifth grade. That's how old? Like 9,
Oh,
right?
yeah, or 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So no cell phones. We couldn't get a hold of her. Had no idea when she'd be back. She got home at like 11:30. Her kids chased us around the apartment with a knife and like locked us out. And like it was so bad. My parents were furious. And then she paid us $5 to split.
Yeah. I
So
definitely remember babysitting for like really long periods of time that now we would definitely not do to a kid. Also, like,
mhm.
yeah, no. I we just I don't want to say we care more about our kids, but we're more in tune to them as human beings, not just as this thing you need to keep alive and kind of hinders your
Yeah.
life, you know. Not that that wasn't
Yeah.
I'm saying that as like a general for like people. My parents definitely weren't that way. Like, but I
Yeah.
saw a lot of that, you know,
Hmm.
for people like
Absolutely.
anyway.
Just took advantage of you because you're kids.
Yeah. My first job I think was probably babysitting, but I put down
Hmm.
that my first job was selling popcorn and orange juice to the construction workers by the
Oh
apartments I lived
yeah.
in. Yeah.
That's an entrepreneurial spirit.
Hmm.
Babysitting you get shoved into because
Yeah.
that's just what you do. But
I mean, I still did that. I would ask people if I could watch their kids and stuff. Like, I had no problem asking people if I could like do something to make money at a very young age. And it's not like anybody was
yeah,
telling me to do it. I was just like, I would want something that I saw, which was normally literally just candy. I just wanted to be able to get candy when I wanted
get
it,
your own
pretty much.
candy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or just like, like my mom was good about not bringing tons and tons of bad stuff in the house. Plus, she, had to be real careful with how she spent, and she bought in bulk to be feeding 10 kids and stuff like that. So, like,
Yeah.
I've always had a sweet tooth, so I was like,
If there was sweets, it would go fast.
yeah. No, I would make money selling popcorn.
Hmm.
My mom would she had this big canister, so she'd make it on the
Hmm.
stove top, and then we put it into little baggies, and then she'd make some orange
Sweet.
juice. We take the orange juice and just go and sell it. And because we're cute little kids, they were like, sure, I'll buy a thing or whatever. And then
Yeah.
me and my sister Laura and normally a friend, we would walk across this like really busy road, like highway type road, to
Hmm.
JB's family restaurant that was attached to a La Quinta Inn. And we would get
Uh-huh.
the all you could eat ice cream bar. And then we would go in and
Nice.
swim in the hotel pool.
There's nothing wrong with that. I love that.
No, I
I
think
would
there
have
was
done that.
something wrong with it because we weren't paying to
Why?
stay there. But we did swim a couple times.
We used to pay to swim in the hotel pool.
You paid to swim in the hotel pool. We just
Hmm.
went for ice cream and then it I think yeah, we were just like
Oh. So you're saying you didn't pay for the pool part? You would just go. You paid for the
yeah,
ice cream. I think it's fine.
yeah. And we weren't just
You didn't.
we didn't hurt anybody.
You
We
didn't cost them anything.
we know exactly. Um and it's like I always kind of knew like it was one right, but also it was like want to go swimming. I don't know.
They could have stopped you at any time.
This
And I don't
is
think anybody's kept awake at night
I
being
don't,
like, if
yeah, no,
only I'd caught
totally.
those girls
I don't think anybody was
out of the
paying attention
pool.
to us. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
really as a society, I don't think they paid attention to kids the way that they do now.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Which I mean means it was probably a lot easier for people to be victims. So that was not good, but I was very lucky.
Yeah.
I was also like a really loud kid, so I probably wasn't like the best target.
Not an easy target. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was small, I was very small, but also like I wasn't gonna shut up.
Tiny
So
but mighty.
yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
my first
man.
job I would say is selling popcorn, even though it was probably really babysitting too.
And do you know what that did for you? That I noticed
Did what
like
did for me?
what that job and similar ones did for you
What's
was
that?
we would never pass a little kid Kool-Aid stand
Yeah.
without stopping and getting some, even though you're like a germaphobe and would
Yeah,
never
even
ever
though I
drink it.
cannot I
Like,
cannot drink it, but I also cannot
we
pass up
drive
a kid trying to
our
work
money
and
and
not
yes.
pay them. You know, you're right. You're right. I always have to.
And we like drive a few miles away and like dump it out because you're like, I just can't drink it.
I
You picture
can't.
their whole fist like in there stirring it
Yeah,
around.
yeah. Like we're gonna do exactly. We're gonna do like a yard sale, trying to
Uh-huh.
save money to earn for Bella to be able to go to Worlds and for us to go with her
Oh,
and stuff
sweet.
like that.
Yeah,
And I was thinking I could do a little lemonade stand for the kids too, but
that'd
I'm
be
like,
awesome. A
I
little
can
bake
make
sale.
it, but make it in like a big dispenser, like something people could actually
Yeah.
drink,
Hmm.
because people are gonna want to support, but I want them to be able to actually drink it. Whereas
Yeah.
if
The
they're
I
anything
saw
like me, that's the only way you're gonna be able to touch it. And I'll even
yeah,
put a note on it, made by parents.
made by adults who have washed their hands and are germophobic. Like, I think I might trust that sign.
Maybe.
One kid I saw got like the bulk small bags of chips. Would
Okay.
like sell those and like individually wrapped stuff. I'm like, I can buy that. I would buy that. Like,
Yes, yes.
I
Oh,
would pay a little more for their
there's like
stuff.
kids at Bella's school who
Hmm.
sell things. Like she said there was one guy who was selling Jolly Ranchers for like a quarter a piece and like making
Dude, that's
bank
great
on it.
markup.
And then I
Yeah.
was like, why don't you do it? And she's like, because if I get caught, I'll get in trouble. And I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But like, go him, I guess.
Nah,
I don't know.
that's the kind of trouble that if my kids get into, I'm like, well, then I'll just,
Right?
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm not going to ground you. What are they going to do?
Well, I
No,
think
no.
she knows that. I think she knows like most school punishments, like if you're getting dress coded or something, like
Hmm.
normally I've already punished you the morning of where you don't by saying, oh my God, you don't have your belt, like, and then going through the whole, you've got to be more responsible. They already kind of got the
Yeah.
annoying side from me. I've already punished them as much as I'm going to punish them. Like, so when they go to
Yeah.
school and if they get a dress code, I'm not going to like, you don't get your phone, or, something stupid
Yeah.
like that. Like they're still human beings who deserve to control their a little bit about their space and
Environment.
time. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. Mm,
So, what's your first real job where you got hired by somebody, interviewed?
the first real job that I got interviewed for, I mean, I guess I'd still say it's the same job I have on my list, which is cleaning out my dad's friend's truck. He was a trucker. He owned a truck that had like a bed in the back and everything. His name is
Yeah.
Mont, and we lived with them for a time. And I was always asking for ways to make money and stuff like that. So he would let me clean out his truck, and I get $20, which was a lot of money for me. But I would get out the Q-tips, like
Yeah.
I cleaned the shit out of that thing. Like I was a good little cleaner. So,
Detailed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I mean, I had to sell myself on that one. Had to let him know, I'll do a good job.
Yeah, that's good though. And then you
Yeah.
had to follow through.
And then like the same with every job because here she comes.
That's okay. That's her job.
Uh-huh.
Elena.
Let me let you wear these for a minute because she can't hear without them.
Okay.
Okay,
Hi,
you have to take this
Elena.
out and say hi.
Hi.
Yes,
How you
yes.
doing?
Anthony's at the door. He just said she's way too quick. I think she's playing baby right now.
Hi.
We got to get rid of the binky and send it to a baby. Are you ready to go be a baby? Because babies don't get to stay in here. We're talking. This is talking time.
Hi.
What do you want to say?
Hi.
That's not talking. But that's baby talk.
That works.
You don't need these for baby talk.
talk.
Well, then talk.
Pepper bit on me.
Pepper bit on you?
Oh no.
Mommy, boo boo.
Oh.
Ouchie.
Oh.
Ouchie.
It hurts.
Oh,
That gets it better.
Those headphones.
you really want to wear these headphones?
Yeah, I want them on ears.
Okay, one more time, and then you got to go. So you say something to Emily, and then it's time to go with Daddy.
Hi, Elena. What am I doing? I'm just sitting here. What are you doing?
I'm doing my mommy.
Oh, sweet. You're the
What?
podcast host today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
I
What do you
need
want to be when you grow up?
this blue and purple and blue it on me.
Great answer.
Oh,
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to have a single bottle.
You want to have a singing Barbie doll when you grow up? It's a good plan. What were you today? What were you this morning at Mommy's work?
It was my toys.
were you a dentist?
Yeah.
Oh, you were?
She actually
That's a good
she
job.
was supposed to stay in the doctor's office, but she would not do that. She did end up in the room with me at one point in time, and she was like, I'm working on my patient, and he totally loved it. He was fine with it whenever he's laughing because she's funny. But she would be like, say, ah, like I'm actively working. His mouth is open. He's already, and she's just off on the side telling him what to do, telling him she's the doctor. And then taking it back.
You can't
She went
you
in.
can't say no to that.
Yeah. And when she met our new doctor today, and I was like, this is Dr. Tran. And she's like, I'm the doctor. And I was like, there can be two. There can be two doctors. It's okay.
Yes.
All right, love you. So
Well, being a mom is your first job, so that's totally fine.
oh yeah, I know. And she's adorable. She's so funny. She's like me. She could talk forever. And I'm trying to like not squash that at all. Because I'm just like,
Yeah.
like sometimes I am just like, yes, like one more thing. She will.
It can be hard.
Oh, for sure. I get it. I
Mhm.
know it can be a lot. That's why I try. I think she helps me be more understanding of how people
Yeah.
were with me, like just being
Mhm.
like there's only so long, so much attention. We all are having our own thoughts. And I'm like, I can't hear all your thoughts and think any of mine. And I get that.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just
That's
the
a good
type
way to put it.
think all my thoughts out loud at all times.
Mhm.
Because sometimes
Everybody should hear what's going on in here.
well,
So-
it's not a like you should hear this. It's just like I don't know why it just wants to.
Just comes out.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. So we were talking about first job you were interviewed for, and I was
Yeah,
gonna
and
tell
yours
you
was cleaning trucks.
yeah. But my other first job, that was one of my favorite first jobs that I interviewed for, was when I worked for this couple, the Calderwoods in Goshen, Utah. And I just saw her outside weeding one day. She lived up the road from us. And I asked her if I didn't like nicely say, hey, can I help you? I was like, if I helped you pull weeds, can I make a few dollars? Like I
Oh,
was
it's
always,
good.
I was, I guess kind of, but I could have just been nice and helped her. But I guess
you could have, but then you wouldn't have got money, and that's what you were.
I set the tone that I'm trying to look to make like. But then she started having me do all kinds of stuff. I'd wash her dishes. They had all these dishes that were like up on display, like hanging and stuff like that. And one day she took all those down and had me wash all those. And she had a bunch of dimes
Really?
for some reason. Yeah, she had me roll all her dimes. Another time she had me come and like wrap all her Christmas presents. And I was real meticulous about it too. Like I was,
I'm
I was
sure.
in like the 7th grade by this point in time, so I was pretty. Like I was decent with it. Plus we had always had to help at home. So like
hmm
and being a germaphobe, like I was a good little cleaner.
Get rid of the couches! We can't let people know we sat! The chairs need to be pushed in. There cannot be any sign of living in this house.
So
Yes, you are. I remember you were very meticulous,
you were my roommate.
and that's a good thing.
But yeah, those are my
It was
first
good.
like although they're not real jobs, like I definitely
Mhm.
sold myself for those jobs and they were good.
No,
Yeah.
that's good. You learned how
What
to
about
market
you?
yourself.
I
I
guess
think
so.
that's
Yeah.
smart.
What's your first
Yeah.
job you interviewed for?
Well, growing up, my mom and dad always said, "We don't expect you to get a job through high school. We want school to be your job."
Mhm.
So I never really did. I kind of
You worked harder
I
in high
worked-
school than I did too.
well,
So probably for that reason.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Kind
I know
of,
it didn't
whatever.
affect me. I got into every college I applied to. I always had good grades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and my husband and I grew up so differently, me and
Yeah.
Cody. Like he was put in farm trucks as like a elementary school student and taught to haul hay and work really hard. And
Yeah.
I was taught to hit the books and make sure I got A's. I would go help one of my friends do her job. She was a janitor at the junior high or an elementary school, and so I'd go help clean up, and that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Um,
What's your first job you interviewed for?
probably when no, wait, the MTC, the Missionary Training Center.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
where
on my
I
list
worked in the
too.
kitchen. Yep, I forgot about that until just now.
Really? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I didn't even think about this when I was going over the whole thing. Yeah, the MTC. I thought, and honestly, the only reason I worked there is because I'm like, where can I hang out with the most amount of cute boys at the same time? And there they were.
And I think I was there because you were there, and it worked with my soccer
Probably.
schedule too. Because
Yeah, I was pretty
I-
flexible.
you like served, right? You served the
Yeah.
food in the line. I did the cleanup after that because like I
Yeah.
had practice Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I would go to the MTC to clean after practice. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays I had games. So I couldn't work those.
So you
But
cleaned up after?
yeah. I remember because we didn't really like see each other a lot working there. We worked there at the same time. It was really fun
Yeah,
though.
there was sometimes I'd stay after and help clean up, and
Yes,
we'd work at the same time.
Yeah, but you were
But yeah.
more you were out there seeing all the cute missionary boys and
The cute
probably just
missionaries.
fawning over them because
Oh yeah,
very
because they were
Mormon.
just all so cute. I was very
Yeah.
Mormon, and that is like Mormon teenage girl
Yeah.
mecca. It's just like
Oh,
I loved being there,
yeah.
and it was very non-threatening because everybody left after like 2 weeks, and a new
Ye-
batch of them would come in.
Yeah.
It was just fun. No, it was a really fun environment too. It was.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
know.
yeah. The cleaning kitchen crew was really fun. I remember I made friends with a guy there. I think I always just saw him more as a friend, but he liked me. He took me to either his prom or homecoming. And
Which one was
ironically,
that?
he took his name was Sean. I don't know his last name, but he took me to a Ben Harper concert, which is really freaking
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, I remember
But
that.
I was such a Molly Mormon that I smelled weed. Me, the fucking pothead that I am now, smelled weed and immediately got so anxious. I was like, I feel it. Like, I can't go in there. Like, and he was so kind and like really like was like, oh, sorry, like whatever. And so I'm like, he paid for this freaking concert that I ruined. Took me to his home. I'm like, but I never wanted anything more than friendship from him. You know what I mean? It's kind of that whole like the friend zone argument where it's like you're really funny, like but I don't see you in that way. Like it just wasn't me. I was, I don't know. I think I did that with like a lot of guys where I was like, I like bullshitting with you, but like I don't know. I was very
Doesn't go
reserved
beyond
for who I
that.
actually liked. Like
Yeah.
like I didn't. I don't know. It just wasn't really me. But I feel so bad because do you remember when he like left me a gift on my car?
And we always check the trunk, and we left it. That's like the
Yeah.
one day you didn't do it.
Sean, you'll never see this, but I feel really bad about that. So if you ever do, thank you for buying me another Kansas CD for the one that I lost. Also, I had a favorite picture in the MTC. He bought me a copy of that, and it still hangs in my parents' house.
Aw.
Just because, why not? It's still a great photo for them, I guess. It was.
It works. Okay, so jobs. MTC. After the MTC, I went to Massachusetts. Like that's when I decided to go kind of
Wait,
not really
you
nanny.
just skipped
but-
Hickory Kist.
No, that's afterwards.
You didn't work at Hickory Kist till after you
Till
came back?
after. Yep.
But okay.
Because I remember when I told
realize
you I
that.
was, yeah, when I told you I was moving away to Massachusetts in like a week. Like it was crazy. I was in college and I just decided I'm not going to college anymore for right now, and I'm moving across the country, and
No, I'm
gonna
glad
go.
you did that. That's so like
Yeah, it was.
important to just
I needed to.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it came like super short notice.
Yeah.
So I came to the MCC where you were working that night, and I'm like, hey, guess what? I'm leaving. And you're like, what? Anyway,
Yeah. How
but I do
dare.
remember that. How dare
Yeah,
you can't leave.
I know.
Yeah.
It was very sad, very sad. But I, for some reason, thought Hickory Kiss was before that. But I
No,
guess
right
we'll get
after.
there. Okay, so sorry. Anyways,
No, so but after I left, then you left. After you like, didn't you nanny
well,
before?
I nannied after like a year of college for me, and I was still working at the
Okay.
MCC when I was in high school, since you graduated a year before me.
Hmm.
So okay, so I was still finishing
That's
my high
right.
school year when you went off to
To Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is right. And then I came home, and then we started working at, or I started working at Hickory Kiss
And then I
right
joined
after I got home.
shortly after. Yeah. But in the meantime, I did also, like, I worked at a lot of places. Like I was
Hmm.
trying to write them all down because I'm like, between all of that and then when I started at Hickory Kiss, along with all the other things I said, let's see what else I had on my
Oh
list.
yeah, you worked at JB's.
Yeah, well, I had a paper route too that I hated. It
Okay.
was way too early and I did not do a good job and I was not a good worker. That is like the only job I would say that but I was
Was
also
not
like
bueno at.
sixth, seventh grade. Yeah. But I worked at McDonald's for like a month, Subway for like a month. Like, and it wasn't like I was going in to apply for jobs when I got these jobs. It was like I was there.
And they asked. I
And they
remember
would,
that with like
yeah,
Subway.
yeah,
They'd
I
be like,
think
"Do you need a job?"
exactly. I think it's because I was
Mhm.
just in there talking so much or something. I don't know. They just assumed maybe she wants to stay. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but then I worked at the hospital cafeteria. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
That was,
With
and Jed
didn't
would
I was gonna
borrow
say, was it?
everybody's. I mean, I had scrubs, and now looking back, I'm like, I shouldn't have had scrubs. I worked in the I worked in the cafeteria, but
That's all right.
my friend worked there, and occasionally he'd be like, "You want some scrubs?" Like they just grew on trees, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I do."
Of
So,
course I do.
and
They
then
came
my
in handy
brother,
a lot. We wore them a lot.
yeah, we did. You posted a picture of me the other day in a pair of them.
Sorry.
I was like, I wore them a lot. I wear them a lot now too, but actually because I
Yeah.
work in scrubs. Okay, outside of that, yeah, then it was JB's Family Restaurant.
Hmm. Do you know what I think of when I think of that?
What?
There was one day I came to visit you, and I walked in the door, and you were just like you had the roughest day. You'd had a super bad day,
Yeah.
and then like the final straw was you'd held out this table. It was kind of rough, and they didn't tip at all. And so I walked in the door, and you just kind of lost it. I'm like, okay, we're leaving.
Yeah,
Bye.
yeah, yeah. It doesn't happen often. But yeah, no,
No.
when I break down and start crying, I normally am like, bye. Like I've pushed myself to my limit. I've tried to
Yeah.
like
You're
because
you're
I
not
normally
a
don't give a fuck.
crier. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd say I am now, but I wasn't then. And I am now,
No.
not in a like overwhelmed by emotions in a negative way. It's just that like if the emotion
You can
strikes
let
me,
yourself do it.
yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. I'll cry at a movie, I'll cry at a thought, I'll cry at a, you know,
Yeah.
there's just
But I wouldn't have called you an overly emotional person back. I mean, it's not like
no, not at all. Overly
I was,
sarcastic,
but
yes.
What? No.
I lost my toothbrush and cried once. Like I was probably a little more emotional. Do you remember that?
Well, when it's like the worst thing that's happened to you, yeah. I mean, not
Yeah.
to say you haven't had things happen, but like you had a pretty great, like you had
Mhm.
access to a lot of things. You never
Yeah.
worried about where anything was coming from, in that way,
Well,
you know, it's
yeah.
fine.
Well, 90% of my emotional stuff comes from me being tired, which I get tired a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, if
Good.
I'm tired and I'm emotional about something, it's not the thing that I'm emotional about. It's go take a nap.
I recognize
That's
that on the daily with my girls in the morning on the way to school
hmm
when they just start getting frustrated about things and I'm just sitting there like, you're making me want to cry. You're being a little jerk right now. But also, I know that you're just like tired,
yeah.
hyper emotional. Things are running through your head, and everything's feeling like it's a little bit more important or bigger than it is.
Hmm.
I try to recognize that.
That's good.
We all go through that. Here she
Yeah,
is. Here she is,
exactly.
folks. She like shutting the door behind her and like, Daddy's gonna find you, right? Did you just want to lay over there?
She hiding?
She was. Okay. This is it. She keeps carrying these around. These were my happy birthday balloons.
Oh, I love those. And then they stick around forever because
Yeah. Well, I brought
they're
them home
awesome.
from work because they were for her. Hey, it's time. I'm gonna come out in a bit, okay? I love you.
My husband got me one of those balloons for Valentine's Day.
Huh?
He just said, I love you. And I just kept it in the kitchen. And I think it was still there by like the 4th of July. It was
They
like
last a long time, yeah.
the balloon that would not die. So,
We have if I could show you up top here, I'm gonna try real quick. If you look at that party balloon, can you see it?
yeah, I think so. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, of course.
Okay, so that is from like a party that we had here when like 5 years ago. Like really long time ago.
Really?
I think it was for one of Bella's birthday parties and we put it out on the lanai. And then like it just stayed around for so long and then we ended up having it on the wall like in another place and then now it's here. I'm like, yeah,
Now it's a part of the family.
Exactly.
It's
And
like,
it's in the pink room.
yes.
Yeah. The
That's awesome. All right, jobs.
never-ending balloon. Yeah, jobs.
Awesome. Back to jobs. So where were we on yours? You went talking about JB's. Where'd you go after JB's?
Well, Hickory Kiss, I think.
Yeah.
It must have been. After
So
that.
Hickory Kissed was like a deli.
Yes.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
They made their bread homemade every week. It was so good.
And when I worked with you, we worked in the lowest level of the New Skin high rise in Provo. They had like a deli in there. And that was so fun.
That was fun. That was really fun.
Some funny memories from when we were there. There were a lot. Like there was this
there were
guy
a ton.
from England who would we'd ask him to say things.
I feel so bad.
We'd ask him to say things in American.
Well, not only that, but before I knew he was English, he was like, he was asking for our boss or something. He's like, "Have you seen James around?" I'm like, "Yes, I've seen James. How are you doing?" You know?
Yeah.
And you're like, he's like actually from England.
Yeah, it's
He
hard
doesn't
not
just-
to hear that accent and want to do it though, because it's just like fun and pleasant. And what do they say?
Yeah.
Like imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Like we imitate it because we like the way
I don't know how flattering we were.
No, we weren't. But I just remember he would say like water meter and then
water meter.
Like he always really like water meter. Do you remember the one that I think you were there? I hope you were there. You remember there was a guy who was deaf and I was not aware.
I loved Nick.
Yeah. So the first time I met him,
he was the best.
He was the best. But the first time I met him, I didn't know he was deaf. And you know how sometimes like people just are silly and you know like I was always down to go along with it, whatever. And he came up and he just went like, "Where's the ketchup? Like, where's the ketchup?" And I'm like, "Over there," you know, like we're doing this silly thing, and everybody's like,
"No!"
He was looking at me like,
"You're a horrible
devil
person.
Reincarnated." Evil. And I'm like, and then they told me, and then I felt like an absolute ass, but I really didn't know, but it was really embarrassing. And I'm not the type to really get embarrassed, but that kind of like that make it look like I was being an ass, like I was embarrassed. I was like, no, that was not what was happening. It's like, okay, totally off topic. Do you remember? I think we were going to a dance concert or something. And like,
okay, keep going.
I think I came in, or you came. I can't remember which one of us was on what side, but came in doing like a stupid like a way overkill wave. And there was this girl between us who had Down syndrome who like and then it was like froze like, no, I was not like I was doing that
not
first.
The intention.
Yeah. I don't think anybody even thought anything of it, but I guess I'm always so like I would never want to even appear as though I'm like, you know, being
making fun of somebody with special needs.
Yeah, exactly. I remember just being like, like
yeah.
Hi.
The cringe sets in so fast.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I mean, I kept waving because I didn't want to upset her or anything, but it was just like, oh my god, I swear I'm not an asshole.
Well, luckily with the Nick thing, we became friends later, and he came to my birthday party. It was awesome.
Excellent.
Yes, but the best thing about Hickory Kissed was that we we're poor college students, and we got to take home like the fresh stuff
Oh
that they
yeah.
couldn't sell at the end of the week.
They got a new thing called free shavakadu.
Yeah, the stuff that was going to get thrown away, which I worked in a restaurant recently and there's still a lot of stuff that gets thrown away. So I'm like, that was such like I would tell every college student work at a restaurant and if you're eating
Restaurant.
food, because I'm pretty much like the end of the day, I spent all day eating pickles. Anthony would have hated to know me back then because he like despises
Does not like pickles.
No,
Really?
crazy because I am a pickle. I've eaten so much pickles. Like, loved them. I'd eat them all day.
I would spend my time eating the fresh, like hot fresh bread with honey butter.
Mm, yeah, so good.
It was
And
good.
I kind of bounced back and forth, like, because I worked in the new scan building with you, and then
Mhm.
when they sold that off and moved across the street, or did they always have the one across the street too?
The Hickory Kiss, I think they always did.
Yeah, I just hadn't worked at that. So then I ended up working across the street. And then after I left to be a nanny in New Jersey and then came back to like plan my wedding to Anthony, I worked there
Yeah.
again. So yeah, worked at
It was a good
Hickory
place to
Kiss.
work.
It was. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't like high wages or anything, but I think like you said, the fact that we could take home like a sandwich at the end of the day or something like that. And then
Yeah,
our rent at Miller Apartments was like
super cheap.
it makes me feel like we lived in the 20s when I say our summer rent was $95 a month.
Yeah,
Granted, we
for
shared
real.
a room, but still, and there were 6 girls in the little apartment. But still,
Well, that's how they kept people there because in the summertime there was like a mass exodus of college students going home. It's like if you want people to live there, you have to make
yeah.
rent super cheap.
But even in the
So
winter, it was 240.
I don't remember, but it was super
Yeah,
cheap.
it's 240,
It was
which like you couldn't afford much else than that outside of our money because we really weren't making tons, but we survived.
it worked.
You
Yeah,
could not do that anymore unless Miller Apartments is still that cheap.
it's not.
No,
I'm guaranteeing it.
I imagine they couldn't be with everything else going up, but I'd be interested to see what they charge now.
Our first house that we bought,
Mhm,
that little like salmony colored one,
mhm.
um, when we bought it, it was just over $100,000.
Okay.
My brother found it last year for
Yeah,
sale for I think 280. Like,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, it jumped.
Yeah.
So,
And
and
it's still
all
the
the rents there
same
jumped,
house.
and
Yeah.
mhm. Same tiny little house. So,
Yeah. That's unfortunate.
yeah.
Alrighty. So my next job then was nannying for Anthony's
Mhm.
cousins. What
Yep.
exactly did you do when you were in Michigan? It was a lot more like
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. Yeah, yours was much more like of like a learning, growing for you, like
Yeah.
developing, whereas mine was like make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was more on a volunteer basis. I went and
Yeah.
lived with a family that took care of handicapped adults or
Yeah.
adults with special needs or
Yeah.
um, differently abled. Anyway,
Yeah.
there were about four people with different needs that lived there with a family, and then I would drive them to all of their little events and all of their classes and just hang out with them. And I still keep in touch with two of them.
Yeah.
They
You
they
told me
call
that.
me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cute. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to make money to go
It's
back
a good
and
way
go
to
to
make money.
college. Well, but I met Anthony. I actually met Anthony when they flew me out to interview. Like they had flown 6 different girls out to interview, but he was there when I happened to be at the house, and he says he told him to
Really?
hire me. Yeah. But then I went home,
Nice.
got the orange juice poured on me, and spent a night in an airport. But then when I came back, pretty much immediately, like I'd only been there for like 2 weeks, and I'd
Mhm.
already like kind of made friends and was going out and doing things because I'm not the type to stay home or anything like
No.
that. So I came home late one night and I stopped in my employer's office because they had an in-home office so I could check my email and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
he popped up thinking it was the wife who was there and was like, "Hey,
Oh.
what's up?" And so I just responded and was like, because I saw it was him and I knew we'd already met. I was like, "Actually, it's Rachel. I'm on a computer doing this." We started talking and he invited me to it was getting ready to be the Super Bowl. And then
Mm.
yeah, so he invited me to a party And then we kind of started hanging out, and I spent every dime I made there on just playing because we would go to Great Adventures, like
Uh-huh.
which is I can't remember. There's like a actual name for the theme park, but like you would know it. Six Flags,
Yeah.
Great Adventure, something like that. Yeah. We had like season passes and we would go all the time. Or one time we went and like rented jet skis and rode like I blew every dollar I had. I'm like, why? My intention was to go there and save. And I think it was the first time I'd ever been able to have because I was a live-in nanny. They
Hmm.
gave me a phone, they gave me a car to drive, and then they paid me better
Nice.
than I'd ever been paid before. So I was like, no expenses and then all this money. And I did not save anything. I
You
advise,
had fun too,
yeah,
so
I kind of advise everybody to do that once. I saw a meme the other day that was like travel when you're younger, even if it's stupid, even if you have to take out a loan. Like those are the loans worth paying off because like you can't always do that. And I don't know that I necessarily agree with
yeah.
that, but like find a way to go and don't have to do it like the most expensive or whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't regret
There's
all the
ways.
playing that we did, but also I'm like, oh, think about how much easier it would have been getting started if I had like
Saved half.
act like I knew that I didn't come from money and that I would need some one day. But it
A
was
good
fun.
balance. It taught you
Yeah,
about
yeah.
balance.
Sure. It was really fun.
Maybe.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It taught me how fun it is to just buy what you want, go where you want, for a time.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, so yeah.
That's the life.
Yours was definitely much more like of a growing experience than mine was, but mine was really fun. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, no, that sounds incredibly fun. In
yeah,
fact, I
it
think if
was
I
fun.
could go back and do it again, I would probably go with you on that. I
Oh my God, we would
don't
have
know.
had so much fun. It would have been so fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been incredible.
Ah,
Um,
are
okay,
we gonna
so
go be
after
adult nannies now? Is that what's
adult
happening?
nannies,
Just kidding.
I don't think people would hire us.
No, plus I really don't want to. I mean, like I had a different type of energy then, and I didn't
Hmm.
have as many thoughts of how I think children should be interacted with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was much
Hmm.
more malleable and like whatever you say,
Just do what they, yeah.
It worked at that time. Now they wouldn't want me. Eh,
Yeah, I don't know how many people would want me, but
yeah.
I'm nannying my own children,
Yeah, me too.
so so that works. Okay, after Hickory kissed, oh, my parents went to Russia to go pick up my brother, and they needed somebody to watch over their law office. So I quit Hickory kissed and I went and worked at my parents' law office, and then I just stayed on when they came back.
Yeah.
And they were way too lenient with me and way too like
I
the amount of
mean,
work that I put in versus
what
what
you
they
got
paid me. And
paid?
yeah, they were
Hey,
very kind.
you were blessed. That's pretty awesome. And you were also very good with your money. I remember you always like carrying around your checkbook and keeping tabs and like I
Trying to because I'll
I would
forget.
was that what it was? Well, I just felt like I spent a little more freely than you when I shouldn't have.
I don't know about shouldn't have.
Well,
I f-
like you probably had more. I was spending money I had, but I was like not there was no desire to save it. It was like I'm going to,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, I saved a little. I was kind of proud of myself for like, I'm not in debt and I'm saving and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But then I married my husband and I'm like, oh, you mean having $200 in your bank account isn't saving? Like, mm, he was better at it than I was.
Uh,
So
oh man.
anyway,
Yeah, no, Anthony and me learned some of those lessons together actually because he um he was also very blessed and his parents were able to like pay for his schooling and
hmm
also like his extra needs pretty much, his housing and they gave him he did have a job that he was supposed to like use for certain things, but they really paid for just
hmm
like a lot. And they what they did is give him a credit card and they would pay it off at the end of each month, whatever. So then by the
man,
time he graduated college, he didn't have debt, but he did have multiple cards with $40,000 limits on them.
hmm,
Danger,
that can,
danger.
yeah,
So
That can be hard.
yeah. So
Yeah, for sure.
and now I'm like telling my kids like, please don't ever use a credit card. Only if you absolutely have to, but also like use it as a way to build credit because it's required for things. But if you don't have to
Mhm.
use it, like just
Don't
don't.
use
Because
it.
you're always going to spend more. You will always pay more. It's just let me have this now because I can't afford it. Granted, a lot of people have to do that because they just flat out don't make enough money and our world
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense. So people are kind of forced into it. Anyways, we're not going there
yeah.
though. You
No,
know,
that kind of goes with having a job, like learning to manage money.
yeah.
That's one of the reasons you get a job at a young age is like learn
Yeah.
how you handle finances. And sometimes you're going to be incredibly stupid, and sometimes you're going to look back and be like, I wish I would have done that different, but that's how you learn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
So I went the
Hmm.
incredibly stupid route, but
No, you didn't.
yeah, no,
I think you went the mid-range route. The You definitely could have been stupid or
I could have
like
been more dumberest for sure.
more dumber. With
Most
money.
dumbest. Yeah. I'd still not say I'm the greatest. Like we
Well,
thankfully we do okay, but there are some times where I'm just like, I'll put a little more money into a party than I need to. Just
mm-hmm.
like there's nothing to show for it
It's
after,
okay.
but some pictures and a good time. But the experience is worth it to me. Like that's just
Mm-hmm.
what I love. So
There has to be some of that.
I agree. Okay, so where were we at? You are working for your mom and dad, and I'm
My
pretty sure
parents.
you were doing that while I was a nanny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was right after I got married.
Yeah, after I stopped being a nanny and they were going through their marital woes and such, moved in with
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, and then I worked at Olive Garden as a server again. I've been a server like quite a few times, and
So you're good at it.
it's one of my most favorite jobs because you're pretty much just talking to people. Yeah.
But yes, if I had, saved my money from all of these jobs, I would be in Florida all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Know what you have to live, and the living is expensive anyways. Because I mean, some of the debt that we found ourselves getting in over time was just because life is so expensive. We just were lucky enough to have the a place to put it. That yeah, we eventually had to figure out how to pay off, but a lot of people didn't even have that, to like
Yeah,
just because life. She expensive.
because life.
She's expensive.
Yeah,
Yep. Um,
indeed. So where'd you go from there? Because I think that was my last, working for my parents was my last job. And then I had babies and stayed home.
okay, so from there for me, so
Uh-huh.
I went
Yeah.
from did not stop there. I went from being a nanny to Olive Garden, and
Uh-huh.
then we moved. So being a nanny in Olive Garden was in New Jersey. Then we moved
Mm-hmm.
to Indiana, where, like, I think the first job I just got a job to have a job, pretty much, because getting there, trying to figure out, okay, we're gonna move there, be closer to his parents, because it was just much better cost of living than it was,
Mm-hmm.
and him coming all the way to Utah would have he felt like freaked his family out. Plus, I'm really glad we didn't go back at that point in time. Like
Yeah.
I think Indiana was what was right for us at the time, really. Um,
Yeah.
but I worked at Penn Station, which is like a little sandwich place. And then I ended up working at PF Chang's again as a server,
Nice.
which was really fun because, I love Mongolian beef, and that's where I discovered
Dang
that I
right.
love Mongolian beef and I really like serving. Um,
That's good.
and I think I was going to, oh, I think I skipped one because I worked at Ulta, the makeup store.
I do
I worked there for
remember.
a while.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I actually put that one as one of my least favorite jobs.
Really? Why?
Yeah, only because I loved like being able to play with all the makeups and stuff like that, but it was a dynamic with like the women that worked there. Like there was just like I don't know, I just was still pretty naive, and I don't know. I just don't think they liked me, but I didn't really see that at the time because I'm just like la 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 whatever. So um they um I had my hair was like really awesomely long, and it was one of those times where it was still, I was young, so it was thick and healthy, and I really liked it.
Hmm.
Granted, I used to cut my hair all the time, so I also like I did want to cut my hair, but like it ended up being a thing because Anthony, who was just talking about how much he loved my hair, and then the girls at work like convinced me to cut it off and donate it. And so I was like, that's a good cause, I should do that. And
I'll
then it was
do that.
yeah. And now I'm like, I mean, I don't know. It's like I think they because they had all cut their hair to the point where they pretty much didn't have a whole lot and it was always changing colors, and so they had fun with
Yeah.
theirs, but I don't know. It was just a weird dynamic because I don't really feel like I ever really
Yeah.
knew the people that worked there because I was too naive to, I guess, you know.
That's okay.
But I really
Yeah.
liked the makeup. But then, anyways, after that, I worked at PF Chang's at night, and I went to dental like school to be a dental assistant
Oh yeah.
because it was like I thought I wanted to be a hygienist because I knew it was like the better career, or I'd been told a better career for like a mom. It's like a good,
Hmm.
solid type and good schedule, blah blah blah, decent money. But I wasn't sure if I
Hmm.
wanted to like make the commitment because getting into school for hygiene, it can be, you have to have really good grades, and then once you're
Yeah,
in
it's
the
competitive.
program, you can't work anywhere because it's a full time. You're seeing patients while you're in the program, so you can't actually work. You have to work for free, basically. So I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure I wanted to do it, and so I worked at PF Chang's at night while I did that. And then after PF Chang's, let's see here. Let me go back to my list. Oh, so I did two externships, which is like intern, extern, I don't know, unpaid work
Yeah.
basically. So the first place I worked was Walker Family Dentistry, which is just a family dentist, and they were awesome.
Hmm.
But then the second place I went to, it might have been flip-flopped, but either way, I also went to Fisher's Pediatric Dentistry as an
Oh yeah.
externship, and they were really awesome too. But when I finished my externship, Fisher's Pediatric is who had a position to give me, so I ended up working there. But then a little while later, Fisher Walker Dentistry reached out and was like, "Hey, we have a position now. Are you still?" So I hopped ship because I really did like it there better. And I would say Walker
Yeah.
Dentistry was probably one of my best jobs or most favorite positions because like looking back, I get like it was really great, like group of people, but more than anything, Dr. Gary was like more business minded, I'd say, than most dentists I've worked for, but also more
Yeah.
giving. Like right off the bat, I had 401k, all these things that like
Yeah.
now after I've been at a lot of other places working, like especially for just a general, not a corporate place, just a doctor to be able to like offer you those. He was investing a lot of money in that and not making as much by doing that, but people like to work for him. And
Yeah.
honestly, if um if I hadn't kind of had my freak out where I needed to leave Indiana and move back to Utah, which was
Yeah.
me just not knowing I had really bad anxiety and was trying to like figure out something that was wrong, and it had to be that I just couldn't live there. So
Yeah.
but we left, we went to Utah, and that's where I had Haley, and I worked as like a temporary hygienist. We
Hmm.
were only there for 8 months, so I never ended up taking like a full position or anything. Then we moved
Yeah.
back to Indiana, but there wasn't a position for me at Walker Dentistry. I do think I did skip a step for when I was at Walker Dentistry. I left to go to hygiene school, but at the very end of my hygiene school, he called and said, "Hey, I have a full-time position for you." So I went right back as a hygienist
That's
following.
cool.
Yeah, so it was really awesome. So good job, good guy to work for. His wife worked there too. Dr. Becky was awesome too. I just didn't ever get to interact with her quite as much because she had the
Yeah.
kiddos and stuff like that. So she wasn't there all the time. She did a lot more of the kiddo stuff, which I could
Well,
appreciate.
a good boss that takes care of you, like you were saying,
Hmm.
can make all the difference in the whole world.
Yeah, and I
And it
think
makes
it
you feel
makes
like
for a
this is
better
how
working
it's supposed
environment.
to
Hmm.
this is how it's supposed to work, right?
Yeah, yeah. I remember like so he was that was probably one of my best working environments, and I think it was in a lot part because of him. But then so we end up going to Utah. I come back. There's not a position for me, and I ended up working for Dr. Johnson, which is another doctor, dentist in Indiana. And I actually worked for him when when our house burnt down, and I was supposed to be
Oh
at work
yeah.
the morning file, that we woke up that our house burnt
Yeah.
down. That calling him that morning was kind of funny because I was just like, "Hey, I'm not gonna make it in today." And he was like, "Oh no, what's wrong?" And I was like, "Well, my house burnt down last night." And he's just like, "Ha!" Like did not know if I was joking or like not
Yeah.
because I just got to set it because I was like,
Yeah. Like, so well, I
remember
don't
that
have a
time my house
home.
burnt down? That was last night.
Yeah, I still remember that phone call too. And I was like, what the heck? Like,
I know.
rage.
Don't do that. Do
Yeah.
you know that was my second burning home I've ever been in?
Yeah.
So yeah, one of my
Like one
friends
of
was
your
like, "You got to get rid of your fire demon." Apparently,
for
or
real.
I need to learn to
There are
wield it.
There are better ways to clean out your house.
Oh, but that one
You
worked
can.
well. It worked well.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Indeed. Next time, watch Marie Kondo and just
I may have said this on here for before, but Anthony jokes that I'm one of the only people to lose everything in a house fire and just be
yeah.
happy to get rid of some shit. And it's kind of true.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently. That's okay.
Yeah, get rid of things that don't spark joy and don't keep
Yeah.
things that actually spark.
I'll
Like-
tell you, late now is at this point in time in my life is more when I'm realizing there's things that I miss. Like at the time I was like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
Like I lost my wedding dress and I lost things like that I was like, oh, like that kind of sucks.
Dang.
That would have been cool to like let my kids alter or something or just anything, use it in some way.
Yeah.
But for this year was Anthony and my 18 year. For our 20-year wedding anniversary, we're going to renew our vows and I'm going to get a new dress. So,
Oh, fun.
July 10th, 2024.
Okay.
You here. Because we're getting married
Okay.
here. And actually, maybe you could do the ceremony.
I could somehow, that would be awesome.
Anthony did it.
I would get my,
all you do is go online. We could show you where. We actually
Okay.
talked about having you and his best friend, Matt, like co-do it.
okay, let's do it.
Like you guys do the ceremony so we both get to bring in our person. But I
yes.
was saying, I'm like, I wouldn't want to know at all what you guys are going to do. You could do your own individual thing or together, but I would want to be
It would be
surprised
like
by it.
hosting the Oscars, so we would do it great.
Anyways, okay. So that's your next job. But let's get back to
Okay.
our
That's
previous
good.
jobs.
I would do that.
So you're already living at home now, or a wife at this point in time, right? Which is
Yes,
definitely
and
a freaking job. Holy cow.
Yeah, but I mean, there's lots of people that are also mothers and hold down jobs. We just decided that we were at a point where I could stay home and
Yeah, because you
make it
could.
work.
I mean, and that's awesome. Yay for you. Like, I think that's freaking awesome. And you probably have been able to invest time in your kids that like would have been harder to do otherwise. Because I feel that sometimes. Okay, so I am working for Dr. Johnson. Our house just burned down. So then after the house burnt down, we decided to go back to Utah because
I remember that.
well, like I kept waking up feeling like, well, let me go back a bit here. So our house, the foundation was fine, even though it was a total loss, and it like was also a total loss. I think I just repeated myself. It was a loss, also a loss.
It was
What I meant to
a
say was
super
it was
loss.
like, it was like the foundation was fine despite
Concrete
the whole
still-
house being ruined, I guess. So
Mhm.
when we rebuilt it, it was the same basic footprint. We made some changes. We added to it. We actually upgraded and tried to like make everything we wanted because it was like the night before the fire was the night we said, we're staying here forever. Like, this is it. Like, I'm so excited to finally feel home, And then that's the night our house burned down. And so
just kidding.
JK. But I kept waking up. I don't know if it was because it felt like the same house or what, but thinking I was hearing the fire alarm or smelling smoke. And then Bella started
really?
putting her toys by the back door to save for the next fire because she lost everything. So I was like, I really feel like we have to, like, I'm just ready to say goodbye to this house now. Like, the rebuild also sucked. Like, there was nothing easy about it. Like, when they came to turn off the gas at the road or after the fire, they turned it off at the road, but not at the house or something. Because when we finally got, there's this back and forth between the insurance and the people who are going to do the work, and they have to be guaranteed the money, but the insurance has to be guaranteed the work's going to be done. So it's just really a tedious process. And finally get to the point where we're going to demolish the house, and the gas had never been turned off. So then we had to put in a ticket. And it took like 6 weeks for someone to come out and just do what they should have done the night of the fire, basically. And then basically that set the tone for the entire rebuild. Like, it was just like the person who was supposed to be the foreman on our job, because our job took so long to start, got put on a different job. So the person who like owned the construction company was like, I'm going to take this on. I'll be the foreman. But he was obviously too busy, because we would come in, like we'd go to like see the progress or whatever, and we'd see one person shitting on somebody else's work, basically. Like, they weren't working cohesively. Like, the people who did the ceiling left so much shit on the floor that before they could do the floor, they had to be scraping. Like, everything got slowed down by the last person. Like, somebody was clearly not overseeing this or thinking about anything. So then, because we were like really wanting to get back in our house, it kind of fell on us to be like, hey, like this isn't cool.
Yeah. So
So you're
what's next, guys?
yeah. I
Don't
don't
want to tell you
know.
how to do your job, but do your job.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe we should have just stayed more out of it, but we were stuck in a house that stunk because they put us up in
Yeah.
I mean, we did eventually become nose blind to it, but the house that they put us in, it was a townhouse, and the family that had lived there before cooked with a lot of curry, which Anthony actually
Oh
loves,
yeah.
but it wasn't a smell that I wanted to live in. And they repainted the walls, they cleaned the carpets, like we cleaned everything so many times. And by the time
But it just lingered.
but by the time we got to like we'd been there about 6 months, I think that's when like I just became nose blind to it. Or it was like this, I don't know,
Mm.
I just didn't smell it anymore. But that was definitely like a driving force. Like I need my house back because this is otherwise I have to live here where I don't want to breathe because I can't like
But you have a hard time with that anyway. If
I
it's a
do.
smell
I
you
have
don't
a hard,
like
exactly. And then
you can
when they
taste
use
every meal they made.
cleansers, exactly. When there's cleansers on top of it, I'm like, all you did was add more smell. Like no
Mm-hmm.
smell has ever gone away. Now I just live in the smell trap where I can't
Now I
breathe.
live with pine sol curry.
Yeah, we did have
Mm.
like a little teeny like deck off of a window there, so I could sit out there and like breathe fresh air. But you want to be able to breathe in the house you're
That's
having to live in,
rough.
right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so then we moved back to Utah. I did some more hygiene temping, and then I ended up working for Huntington Family Dentistry. He's in Santa Quin, Utah.
Oh yeah.
And he's also another great guy to work for. Like just very chill. Like never, I don't know, not really business minded, more just kind of like me in that I want to come do my job and go home. And if I can go home early, I kind of want to
Yeah.
do it, you know? So
Yeah.
I liked working for him too. But, alas, I didn't want to live in Utah forever. Um, and at the same time that I was working for him, I also had, excuse me, made friends with um, another dance mom who became one of my besties, Natasha. And I started working with her doing forensic software sales. Do you
Oh
remember
yeah.
that? I was
Mm-hmm.
selling Mail Examiner, which is like an email investigation software. It was really neat. Got to go to like really awesome
Cool.
conventions and stuff where, seeing things I would never see otherwise. And I actually kept working for her when we moved to Florida. So I'm working here as a sales helper person, and
Yeah.
doing that. But I also was doing like hygiene, working for a place called Village Dental. And then um I ended up quitting Village Dental. I really was like ready to be out of hygiene, but also Anthony needed me more at home. And then
Yeah.
like I started traveling a lot with Mail Examiner, which was so fun. Honestly, it was so fun. But go back to that whole I chose to be a mom and a wife first, and we'd already kind of established, and that was like a little too hard on the family dynamic.
The
So that
dynamic.
that one
Yeah.
eventually kind of crumbled, and I ended up having to walk away from that one. And then my next job was working at First Watch, which I absolutely loved, and will probably go back there one day just because I really like serving.
It's fun.
It is. It's fun, and it
Mhm.
qualifies my girls for the school we want them to be in. But right now, I'm a hygienist. You know all about that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like I have like a huge freaking list of like all the places I've worked though. It makes me look like I was like the type that just jumped ship all the time, but
No, it's
it
just
was always
different
pretty
places and
organic. Yeah, it would just be like
yeah.
something else would just present itself and it would be like, yeah, that's better. Why wouldn't I take the better? Especially
Yeah.
when it's something where there's no opportunity for anything other than what you're doing,
Yeah.
Anyways,
Or it just felt like it was time, they're
yeah,
doing well enough now that we can just
yeah.
move on to the next thing.
And I'd say you have a job now. I mean, outside of just being a mom, you're also eye candy for your husband when he works in houses.
That's right. It's true. I am. My parents always dreamed that one day. No.
I bet you they're happy as hell that you're so happy and that you get to take care of their grandbabies and
Yeah, we
just
do pretty
enjoy your
good.
life. Yeah, I'm
And I
happy for
can
you.
I can handle a how do I say this without sounding bad? Caulk gun.
A caulk gun.
Like, yeah, I
Poor
can
Anthony. Like
handle my way around caulk.
I get way too into the work because like we've redone our houses and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
I'm like the foreman, sweating and just disgusting. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we just give ourselves an allotted amount of time
Yeah.
and say, okay, we're going to work for this many hours. And then at the end of that many hours, I'm usually like, no, I want to finish this job. I want to finish this job.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, we're cutting it off and we're going to go home. And so it kind of leaves you hungry for the job the next day.
Yeah. Because you're seeing like stuff getting done. You want to finish it.
Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
I get hyper focus where I could just like work on the same job all day and like
Yes.
nobody talk to me. I don't even really want to eat. I just want to work on the same job. And I don't think that's very good for balance. So it's really good to say,
No,
hey,
it's good for getting stuff done, but it's good that he stops you because the job will be there tomorrow, but your life won't be. You know,
yes,
the kids are only this age so long. You're only this age so long, and life is about a lot more than working.
yes. Hey, show me your top. I didn't see that before.
Oh, it's
cute.
very cute.
Oh, your hair was doing something where it looked like it was like
this. No, this is not even my hair. It's a hairpiece. It's one of those like halo extensions because I like it.
okay.
I even told Anthony, I'm like, I'm gonna be like her today with her long curls. But this is
Yes.
yet another Goodwill find.
I love Goodwill.
Uh-huh.
And I did notice that when you were talking about your hair like being long at Ulta, I'm like, her hair has grown a lot.
No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. My hair's thin so much. I used to have such awesome hair. With
Yes.
Haley, I got hormone driven alopecia. I was like,
oh, really?
handfuls, and it's really never come back quite the same. Like, alas, she was worth it.
Yeah.
But
I remember calling my mom after one of my last kids and just being like, it's like after every shower, you'd just be like, hey, look, there's a fistful of my hair.
That's normal at the end of the pregnancy, but mine was during the pregnancy. Like,
really?
Like I could pull out right here. I have like
the baby hairs
that they didn't always used to be like this. They won't grow past this point.
Really?
Yeah. Like, and I have them all around. Yeah. Since having her, hormones just do real fun stuffed bodies. With Elena, I got glasses.
Really?
I started getting like my right eye. Yeah.
And you always had like dang good vision.
Exactly.
Like
I was always better than 20/20. And I still have really good vision. I'll still be able to read things. And Anthony will be like, you can read that? Yeah, even with my fucked up eye. It's just when you're used to being able to see really, really good. If it's not like perfect, you're like, So I have glasses that I probably should still wear, but it got better after I had her after a while. So I think I think they said that like the shape of your eye can change or something.
Absolutely. I have astigmatism after having kids.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Having kids is great, guys.
They're great.
Yeah, it is. It's not hard on your body at all.
No. But it's the best. My kids are the best.
It is. It's worth it. I would do it again in a heartbeat for the kids that I have.
Yeah, for the kids that I have, yes, I would do it again, but I'm done. No more. I would not do it again.
Nah. Knock on wood.
I'm super done.
So just to kind of round up here with jobs, what would you encourage your kids to like? How would you encourage your kids?
I would encourage them to always make sure they feel valued wherever they're working. And I would encourage them to do what they love, but also that they don't have to monetize what they love, because sometimes that destroys it when you make it something you have to do. So like, like I think it's a balance, but I do hope that they make choices based off of only what they want and not what they perceive we want them to be. Because I did that a lot to myself. And I would say we all did it to ourselves but it was also what society was telling us. And how do you get out of that, but to like experience that that's not what you wanted? And it sucks to find that out later in life. Like, really would have done things differently. And people want to be like, don't you love your kids? I'm like, yeah, of course I love them. To say that I may have made different choices had I been given, like, not been brainwashed, because that's what it is. When you tell me one thing is reality because that's your belief system, you brainwash me to see that too, even though like that's just your perception.
May or may not be true.
That's just it's your truth, I guess, but it's not real truth. You know what I mean? Like, there's what I can say that I know for certainty, and that's not it. And I hope my kids are able to, because I'm trying not to direct them in any one thing, just saying everything's made up. Literally everything's
Yeah.
made up. We don't even know all of our own history, and the history that we've been taught has been to like further, certain agendas that they would like us to see. Did you hear? We got to talk about this because we're running out of time. Plus, I got to go pick up my kids. But
Okay.
look up the mud. Oh fuck, I don't remember what it's called, but there's like cities or whatever that are found like in layers of like mud.
Okay.
So it's like maybe we don't even know all the history we think exists anyways.
That we
Like,
think we know.
going as far back as we know so little. This planet is so old and there's so much like history, but we go back 2,000 years and we're like, yep, that's it. That's what everything was like really important. That's when God said, what I
All
mean?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
no, stop thinking so small and then confining yourself to what that's told you life is, because
Yeah.
I don't know,
I'm
like
finding new stuff every day.
exactly. So to hold on to old beliefs that and like not accept anything that contradicts it and see it as like the devil, you know what? You're coming across as really stupid because your mind is so closed that it does. Don't you? I mean, not to be rude, but like if you can't, I don't know, if you refuse to hear new things because it conflicts with your current beliefs, then
It
it's
limits
hard
you.
not to think that you're stupid. I'm sorry. That's just me.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing I don't have a big platform because that would probably cancel me or something. But like, don't be stupid,
No.
stupid, as Phil
Yeah.
DeFranco would say.
Don't be stupid. Stupid? This is not a joke. You're a joke.
Don't be stupid, stupid.
Yeah,
That works.
yeah. Have you ever watched him? He's a YouTuber,
No.
like news guy. I'll share some with you. He's really good.
Okay.
Anyways.
Awesome. I will listen to that. Our rule was always just,
Oh, sorry.
well, our rule, my husband's rule was just
Okay.
that I agree with wholeheartedly, is we're teaching our kids, just make sure that you put more into the world than you're taking out of it.
That was good.
Like, yeah.
No, that's a really good one. I like that.
Go out and do some good and make some effort and make the world a better place. And that could mean just, serving somebody coffee or whatever, working in fields or anything. Just go out there,
And put good out there.
put more energy into the world than you're taking out of it.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
So
that was a lot
that
of work
note-
to talk about all of our work.
it's a lot of work. And now, wait, this is our favorite job. even though-
Yes. Seriously. I actually went and saw a patient this morning and I was like, I will see, because he's leaving town. I was like, I will see this patient and this patient only because Fridays are mine. Like, you cannot have it. It is mine.
a podcast day.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yep. It's my favorite thing too.
I love you and I Lilas.
Love you too.
And I gotta go pick
And I
up
hope
my
you have an
kids.
awesome week. Okay.
You too.
Go be a mom. That awesome job.
You too.
Subscribe up there.
Subscribe.
There's a subscribe up there.
Okay.
Like the button.
Okay.